I found a stranger's bra in my 14-year-old son's drawer. His reason ruined my trust forever. It was supposed to be an ordinary Sunday morning. The house smelled of syrup and coffee, sunlight cutting through the blinds. I was in the laundry room, folding Liam's shirts one by one. 14 years old, quiet, reserved, still my baby. He was upstairs shouting at his video game. I smiled. For a moment, everything felt normal, until I opened the bottom drawer. I froze. Inside, buried beneath his folded clothes, a bra. Not mine, not new, black lace, adult-sized. It looked wrong, out of place, like a snake hiding in my son's room. My hands shook as I picked it up. The fabric felt hot, dangerous. Who did it belong to? Why was it here? I glanced at the doorway, almost expecting someone to leap out and shout, "Gotcha!" But no one did. Just me and that bra, staring at each other like enemies. Questions ripped through my head. Did Liam have a girlfriend? Was someone sneaking into my house? Or was it something worse? I put it back quickly, as if it might burn me, shut the drawer, stepped away, my heart thudding in my chest. I'd always trusted Liam. He still says thank you after dinner. He still kisses me goodnight. He tells me everything. Or at least, I thought he did. But standing there, staring at that closed drawer, I realized something terrifying. For the first time in his life, I wasn't sure I knew who my son really was. And I wasn't ready for what came next. I closed his drawer like nothing had happened, but inside, my chest was hammering. That bra sat there like a secret waiting to explode. I walked out of Liam's room, forcing myself to breathe. Think, don't panic. Mothers don't panic. Mothers investigate. I needed to see him, to look him in the eyes. So, I did what I always do. I made him a snack. "Liam," I called down the hallway, my voice steady, though my hands shook. He came bounding into the kitchen, phone in hand, chips in his mouth. "Hey, Mom." He smiled, so casual, so normal. But to me, he suddenly looked like a stranger. I couldn't stop staring. Was he hiding guilt behind that smile? Or was I imagining it? "How was school this week?" I asked. "Fine. Boring." He shrugged. "Anything new?" "No." "Why?" I forced a smile. "Just wondering." He went back to munching his chips, scrolling his phone, like nothing was wrong, like there wasn't a woman's bra tucked inside his drawer. But I wasn't looking at my little boy anymore. I was looking at someone else. Someone who suddenly had secrets. And in that moment, one truth burned in my chest. If I wanted answers, I'd have to find them myself. That night, when he was asleep, I crept toward his room. The house was silent. Liam's door was shut, his headphones blasting faint static through the walls. I waited, then slipped inside like a thief. His room smelled like body spray and old socks. The same posters, the same messy desk. But now, everything felt suspicious. I pulled open drawers, checked under the bed, lifted his mattress. Nothing. My chest tightened. Maybe I was crazy. Maybe I'd imagined everything. Then I saw it, his backpack shoved under the desk. I pulled it out, digging past notebooks, crumbs, a tangle of earbuds. At the very bottom, a folded slip of paper, a receipt from a local thrift store. 2 weeks old, one item. Lingerie, $2.99. My stomach dropped. He bought it. Why? For who? But one detail chilled me even more. The receipt wasn't crumpled, wasn't lost. It was hidden, like he didn't want anyone to know. Like he was ashamed. Or afraid. I placed everything back exactly as I found it, heart pounding in my ears. Then I slipped out of his room and shut the door, careful not to make a sound. In bed, I stared at the ceiling, wide awake. Because now, it wasn't just a bra in his drawer. It was proof, and proof meant secrets. Morning came, but I hadn't slept. I sat at the kitchen table, clutching my coffee like a lifeline. My body was heavy, but my mind wouldn't stop spinning. Liam came downstairs, cheerful as ever. He buttered his toast, laughed at something on his phone, like nothing had changed. Like I hadn't found proof hiding in his backpack. But I wasn't listening to his words anymore. I was watching him. His eyes, his hands, his phone. When I leaned closer to see his screen, he tilted it away. Too fast, too defensive. "Who are you texting?" I asked, keeping my voice casual. "No one," he said, then quickly added, "Just a meme." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. And then he said something that made my blood run cold. "Why are you acting weird?" I forced a laugh. Just tired. But inside, my gut was screaming. He was hiding something. Something bigger than a thrift store receipt. Something heavier. And if he wouldn't tell me, I would find out myself. That night, when his breathing turned slow and steady, I crept into his room again. This time, I didn't search his drawers. I went straight for his phone. Locked, of course, but I knew my son. I knew his birthday, our dog's name, his favorite number. I tried. Once, twice, 3 times. Click, it opened, and what I saw inside made my breath catch. The glow from his phone lit up my shaking hands. Most of it looked normal. Memes, school group chats, silly jokes. For a second, I almost believed I was wrong. Almost. Then I saw it. A thread with no name. Just a number. My heart pounded as I tapped it. The conversation was empty. All messages deleted. Except one. A single photo. The same black bra I found in his drawer. And beneath it, 7 words that made my skin crawl. "Put it where I told you, or everyone sees what I have." My breath caught. This wasn't teenage rebellion. This wasn't a silly secret. This was blackmail. I stared at the number. Something about it looked familiar. I scrolled through my old contacts, line by line, and then my blood froze. The number belonged to someone I knew. Someone who lived 3 houses down. Melissa Quinn. Our neighbor. Polite, divorced, mid-40s. The woman who waved too much. The woman who borrowed my lawnmower last summer. And now, she was threatening my son. I put the phone down, my whole body trembling, because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. The bra wasn't the secret. It was just the beginning. I sat in the dark, phone clutched in my hand. Melissa Quinn. I could see her face in my mind. That fake smile, those cheerful waves, her too sweet laugh. My stomach turned. What did she mean by what I have? What could she possibly hold over my son? A photo? A video? Or something worse? The thought made me sick. So sick, I stumbled into the bathroom and threw up. I rinsed my mouth, staring at my reflection in the mirror. This wasn't just about a bra anymore. This was about control, manipulation, predation, and the monster lived 3 houses down. I wanted to storm to her doorstep that second, to scream, to demand, to tear her apart, but I couldn't, not yet, because if I moved too fast, she might destroy Liam first. I needed proof. I needed to be careful. I needed to outsmart her. But as I stood there, shaking, one thought chilled me more than anything. If she had already gotten this far into my son's life without me knowing, what else had she done that I hadn't seen? And how long before she made her next move? The next morning, I couldn't even taste my coffee. Melissa's name pulsed in my head like poison. I watched Liam eat his cereal, his eyes dull, his shoulders heavy. He was carrying something he couldn't put down. When he left for school, I grabbed my laptop. My hands shook as I searched the thrift store from the receipt, just a few blocks away. Walking distance. Too close. I called, disguising my voice, pretending to be curious. Do you keep surveillance footage? The answer crushed me. Only for a week, ma'am. The receipt was 2 weeks old. Too late. I slammed the laptop shut, heart racing. She was smart, too smart. She'd covered her tracks. But if she thought I'd stop here, she was wrong. I opened Liam's phone again, scrolling deeper this time. Old photos, notifications, group chats. Then I spotted an app I didn't recognize. Vault Safe. It looked like a calculator. But when I tapped it, it asked for a passcode. I Googled it instantly. Hidden file app. Used to store private photos, videos, messages. The kind of app people download when they have something to hide. My stomach dropped. This wasn't just blackmail. Melissa had forced my son into hiding her secrets for her. And right now, those secrets were locked inside his phone. I couldn't get the app out of my head. Vault Safe. A secret vault disguised as a calculator. What was Melissa hiding inside my son's phone? I paced the kitchen, replaying every memory, every detail I'd missed. And then, one slammed into me like a truck. Halloween. It had rained that night. I made hot cocoa and told Liam to stay home. He promised he'd just go to his friend Aiden's house. I believed him. Of course I did. But now I remembered something. He came home late, shoes muddy, hoodie damp, and his face, he wouldn't look me in the eye. Back then, I brushed it off as teenage moodiness. But now, I saw it differently. He wasn't moody. He was scared, shaken. And Melissa had a photo of him from that night. A photo I had never seen before. Why was he with her? Why did she save it? What happened on Halloween? My hands trembled as I stared out the window. Because suddenly, I knew this didn't start with a thrift store receipt or a black bra. This started months ago. And Halloween was the night she got her claws into him. I sat at the kitchen table, scribbling notes in a notebook. Dates, clues, every strange detail I'd pieced together. Halloween, the thrift store receipt, the photo, the bra, the Vault Safe app, and at the center of it all, Melissa Quinn. I was so lost in my thoughts, I almost missed it. The buzz of my phone on the table, an unknown number flashing across the screen. I froze. My heart hammered. Slowly, I answered. At first, silence. Then, a voice, soft, sweet, too familiar. You shouldn't snoop through your son's phone. My blood turned to ice. Melissa. Click. The call ended. I stared at the phone in my shaking hand. My eyes darted to the window, the driveway, the street outside. Nothing. No movement. But she knew. She knew I'd been looking. She was watching me. And in that moment, I realized I wasn't the hunter anymore. I was the prey. That night, I locked every door, closed every curtain, double-checked every window. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling. Eyes on me, watching, waiting. Liam sat on the couch, headphones in, laughing at something on his phone. But his laughter sounded hollow, forced, like someone had told him to act normal. I almost told him about the call. Almost. But then he'd know I went through his phone, and that secret could break him. So I stayed silent until the knock came. 3 slow taps on the front door. I froze. It was late, too late for visitors. I crept to the peephole. No one. Just a small envelope on the mat. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside, a single photo, grainy, zoomed in. Me, sitting in my car outside Melissa's house, taken from behind. My breath caught. Someone had followed me, watched me, photographed me, and now they were warning me to stop. It wasn't just a threat, it was a message. I see you. I sat on the couch, the photo trembling in my hands. Grainy, ugly. Proof that she wasn't just threatening Liam anymore. She was threatening me. She wanted me scared. She wanted me silent. She wanted control. But instead, something else rose inside me. Anger. Hot, sharp, unstoppable. If she thought she could terrorize me into silence, she was wrong. She'd underestimated the one thing stronger than fear, a mother's rage. I walked into Liam's room. He was asleep, his chest rising and falling in the dark. I stood over him, brushing hair from his forehead. My baby, my boy. And I whispered, you don't have to be afraid anymore. She won't win. When I closed his door, I knew exactly what I had to do. I couldn't wait for Melissa's next move. I had to make mine first. And this time, I wasn't just going to protect my son. I was going to destroy her. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table with Liam's phone, the photo, and my notebook. Fear had kept me frozen long enough. Now, it was time to fight back. Calling the police? Too risky. I had no solid proof. Just a text, a receipt, a feeling. If I pushed too hard, Melissa could twist it all against Liam. So I did what I never thought I would. I created a new account. Fake name, no photo, no friends, just one purpose, to watch her. I searched her name online. An old profile appeared. At first, harmless. Photos of vacations, parties, her porch coffee smiles. But the deeper I scrolled, the uglier it got. Friendly comments with teens, jokes that weren't really jokes. Offers to help with homework. Too perfect, too polished, predator camouflage. Then I found it. Buried in the comment section of a 6-year-old photo. You still messaging boys, Miss Quinn? LOL. No likes, no replies, just silence. I stared at it, my skin crawling. It wasn't proof, not yet, but it was something. A crack in her mask. I screenshotted it, saved it to my new account. For the first time in days, I felt power. A weapon, a step forward. Melissa thought she was hunting me, but now, I was setting a trap for her. Every morning, I watched her from my window. Same routine, coffee on the porch, phone in hand, smile fake as plastic. She thought she was untouchable, but I was learning her patterns, studying her, waiting, until Thursday. That morning, the blinds stayed shut. No coffee, no porch, no smile. Her car was in the driveway, but the house was dead. No movement, no sound. I grabbed my phone, opened her profile. Gone. Deleted. I checked Instagram. Private now. My chest tightened. She was scrubbing her trail. She knew someone was watching, and she was getting nervous. But it was too late, because I'd already found something she couldn't erase. Liam's old yearbook. I flipped to the back, running my finger over messy signatures. And there it was. Her handwriting. Melissa Quinn. To my favorite helper, always keep our secrets safe. Ms. Q. My blood ran cold. How long had this been going on? And how many favorites had there been before my son? I stared at the yearbook, my hands trembling. Melissa's handwriting mocked me from the page. Always keep our secrets safe. How many children had carried her secrets before my son? I photocopied the page, slid it into a folder with the screenshot, the receipt, the photo, evidence. Pieces of a puzzle no one wanted to believe. But I knew better now. This wasn't paranoia. This was survival. I dug out an old flash drive from my desk, saved everything onto it, every file, every clue, then labeled it in black marker, just in case. And because I no longer trusted even my own house, I hid it, taped under the bathroom sink, where no one would ever look. I whispered to myself, if something happens to me, someone will find this. The thought chilled me, but it also calmed me. For the first time, I had a safety net, proof that I wasn't imagining this nightmare. I closed the cabinet door, my hand still shaking, and that's when I heard it. A knock, 3 slow taps on the front door. I froze. Not again. My breath caught as I crept to the door. Another knock, 3 slow taps, deliberate, mocking. I pressed my eye to the peephole. No one, just silence, and an envelope on the mat. Not again. My fingers trembled as I picked it up. I peeled it open slowly, praying it was nothing. But inside, another photo. This one was worse. Grainy, zoomed in. Me again. Not in my car this time. In my kitchen. Taken through the window. My chest tightened. Someone had been inside my yard. Close enough to see me. Close enough to photograph me in my own home. I stumbled back, locking the door, closing every curtain. Every shadow in the house felt alive. Every sound felt like breathing in the walls. It wasn't just a warning anymore. It was a message. Nowhere is safe. I clutched the photo to my chest, rage and fear twisting together. Melissa wasn't just watching me. She was hunting me. I didn't sleep that night. Every creak in the house felt like footsteps. Every shadow pressed against the walls. But by sunrise, the fear had burned away. All that was left was fire. I couldn't keep waiting for her next move. I couldn't let her circle us like a vulture. If she thought she owned my son, she hadn't met me yet. I waited until neighbors were awake, until the street felt safe with daylight. Then I walked 3 houses down. Every step felt like a countdown. 30 seconds. A lifetime. I raised my fist and knocked. Twice. The door swung open. There she was, Melissa Quinn, smiling in her robe like she'd been expecting a guest. Like nothing in the world was wrong. Good morning, she said, voice sweet as sugar. I stared at her, cold, unblinking. I know what you've been doing, I said. Her smile didn't falter. It sharpened. Oh? And what's that, dear? I pulled the photo from my pocket, the one she'd left on my doorstep, held it up for her to see. She glanced at it and laughed. You shouldn't poke around in things you don't understand. My hands clenched. I'm calling the police. She leaned closer. Her perfume was sickly sweet, vanilla masking poison. Then she whispered, then I'll show them what your son sent me. My heart stopped. Her words hit me like a blade. What your son sent me. I froze on her doorstep, my chest pounding. What are you talking about? I demanded. Her eyes gleamed, cruel and calm. You really think he's innocent? The word innocent echoed in my head. Twisting, stabbing. She stepped closer, too close. Her voice dropped to a hiss. Oh, he's not as sweet as you think. He came back, again, and again, because he wanted to. My stomach flipped. No, no. She was lying, manipulating. That's what predators do. You threatened him, I snapped. You made him. Melissa tilted her head, her smile widening. Believe what you want, but if I go down, he goes down with me. The blood drained from my face. Was she bluffing, or did she really have something? I turned and walked away, my legs shaking. Her laughter followed me down the street, sharp, mocking, like she'd already won. Back inside, I stared at Liam's door. Could there really be something he hadn't told me? Something he couldn't tell me? I pressed my palm against the wood. Every instinct screamed at me to ask him. But what if she was right? What if he really had secrets? And what if those secrets destroyed him? I paced the hallway for hours, back and forth, staring at Liam's door, every step heavier than the last. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I pushed the door open. He looked up from his bed. No headphones, no games, just him, like he'd been waiting. I sat down on the edge of his bed, didn't speak, just looked at him. He sighed, like he already knew. Did you go to her house? He asked. My throat tightened. Yes, he nodded, eyes dropping. No panic, no surprise, just defeat. She said you kept going back, I whispered. Is that true? His lips trembled. He swallowed hard. Then finally, yes, the word crushed me. Why, Liam? Why didn't you tell me? Tears pooled in his eyes. Because she said she'd ruin me if I didn't. My chest ached. What does she have on you? Silence stretched between us. Then, slowly, he reached under his bed, pulled out a small black flash drive, placed it in my hands like it was poison. She made me record things, he said, voice breaking, but not of me. My blood ran cold. Then of what? He looked up, tears streaming. Other boys. The flash drive felt heavy in my palm, like it could burn me, like it could shatter everything I believed about my son's world. I looked at him, so small, so broken, 14 years old, already carrying someone else's crimes. She made me film them, he whispered. Kids from the neighborhood. She said if I didn't, she'd tell the school, she'd tell the police, she'd make them think it was me. Tears blurred my vision. How long? I asked. His voice cracked. Since Halloween. My stomach twisted. It all made sense now. The muddy shoes, the damp hoodie, the photo she'd saved. That was the night she trapped him. I hugged him tight, his body trembling against mine. It's not your fault, I whispered. Do you hear me? None of this is your fault. But inside, I was breaking. Because this wasn't just blackmail. This wasn't just one woman preying on my son. This was a predator network. And somehow, Melissa Quinn was right in the middle of it. I didn't cry. Not this time. I locked the flash drive in my desk, and I made a silent vow. I wasn't just going to protect Liam. I was going to burn her entire world to the ground. I didn't let Liam see my tears. He'd carried enough. He didn't need my pain added to his. When he finally drifted into uneasy sleep, I unlocked my desk and pulled out the flash drive, held it in my hand. This tiny piece of plastic could destroy lives. Hers, and maybe mine too. I plugged it into my laptop, clicked open a single file. Just one, a video, shaky, dark, but clear enough. Children, not mine, not hers, other boys, faces I recognized from the neighborhood. My stomach churned. I slammed the laptop shut. I couldn't watch. I didn't need to. This was more than proof. This was evidence, enough to bury her. I copied the drive 3 times. One for me, one for my sister, one for a lawyer friend I trusted. If anything happened to me, these copies would live on. I labeled each carefully, tucked them into envelopes, sent them off the next morning. No more hiding, no more fear. If Melissa Quinn wanted a war, I was ready to fight. And my first call would be to someone who knew exactly what monsters like her looked like. Detective Ava Morales. I dialed the number with shaking hands. Detective Ava Morales, Family Crimes Unit. A voice answered, firm, sharp, steady. I swallowed hard. This is urgent. Please, come to my house. Right now. There was a pause. What happened? She asked. I took a breath that felt like glass in my throat. Everything. She arrived in less than an hour. No uniform, no flashing lights, just dark eyes that read me in a single glance. A mother, a fighter, someone who understood. I handed her the flash drive, told her everything. The bra, the receipt, the threats, the photo, Melissa. She plugged the drive into her laptop, watched one clip, just one. Her jaw tightened, her face paled. She snapped the laptop shut. Where is she? Morales asked, her voice like steel. 3 houses down, I whispered. The detective didn't hesitate. She pulled out her phone, made a call. Minutes later, sirens, unmarked cars. The street lit up with flashing lights. I stood at my window, heart pounding. This was it, the moment the nightmare ended. Melissa opened her door in her robe, smiling like she always did. But her smile didn't last long. 2 officers cuffed her right there on her porch, in front of everyone, in front of me. And as they led her away, her eyes locked on mine, cold, burning, like she still had something to say. Neighbors peeked through curtains, whispering as police cars lit up the street. Melissa Quinn stood cuffed on her porch, rope tied too neatly, smile gone. But her eyes never left mine. Not anger, not fear, something worse, a promise. As they shoved her into the back seat, she leaned forward, just enough for me to see her lips move. 3 silent words. Not over yet. My blood ran cold. Detective Morales touched my shoulder. She's finished, she said firmly. She won't hurt your son again. I nodded, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Because deep down, I knew something the detective didn't. Melissa wasn't the kind of woman who fought alone. And if she had Liam recording those boys, there were others. There had to be others. That flash drive wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. I pulled the curtains shut, locking the world outside, but I could still feel her glare burning through me. And for the first time, I asked myself a question I wasn't ready to face. Had I saved my son? Or had I just started a war? The house was quiet again. Too quiet. Liam slept upstairs, finally resting. But I couldn't. I sat at the kitchen table with my notebook, pen scratching furiously. Every detail, every date, every threat, the bra, the receipt, the photos, the flash drive. Melissa's smirk, her whisper, not over yet. I knew she was right. People like her don't act alone. Predators build webs, networks, chains that drag down anyone who gets too close. I opened my laptop, searching deeper this time. Old school forums, community boards, buried posts connected to her name, and there it was. A trail of usernames, all too similar, all linked to tutoring ads, mentorship offers, homework help, different towns, different years, the same style of words, the same sweet poison. Melissa wasn't just my neighbor. She was part of something bigger. And suddenly, one horrifying thought hit me like a hammer. If Melissa was gone, who else was still out there? And did they know my son's name? Detective Morales returned the next evening. No sirens this time, just a folder tucked under her arm and eyes that looked heavier than before. She sat at my kitchen table, spread out papers, screenshots, records. Melissa wasn't working alone, she said quietly. She's connected to others. We're still mapping it. My stomach twisted. I knew it. I felt it. Morales tapped the folder. Different states, different names, but the pattern is the same. Women like her, middle-aged, respected, trusted. I stared at the documents, bile rising in my throat. Teachers, volunteers, neighbors, smiling faces hiding knives. My hands clenched. Are the kids safe? I whispered. Morales didn't answer right away. Her silence said more than words ever could. Finally, she looked at me. Your son's testimony will help us take them down, but it won't be easy. I thought of Liam upstairs, the weight he'd carried, the fear he'd lived with, and now they wanted him to relive it. I closed my eyes, breathing hard. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Because Melissa Quinn might be in handcuffs, but her web was still out there, and we were caught in the middle of it. That night, I sat by Liam's bed as he slept. His breathing was steady, calm for the first time in weeks. He looked younger, like my boy again. I brushed a tear from his cheek and whispered, "You're safe now." But even as I said it, my chest tightened, because safety was a fragile thing. One knock, one message, one secret, and it could all shatter again. Downstairs, Detective Morales gathered the files into her bag. She looked at me with eyes that had seen too much. "We'll keep digging," she promised. "We'll burn this entire web to the ground." I nodded, gripping the flash drive still locked in my desk, the copy taped under the sink, the envelope I'd sent to my sister. Layers of protection, like armor I couldn't take off. When the house finally fell quiet, I stood at the window. The street was dark. Melissa's house sat silent, empty, but her shadow still lingered. Maybe she was gone. Maybe the worst was over. But deep down, I knew the truth. Evil doesn't disappear. It hides. It waits. It smiles at you from 3 houses down. And as I watched the streetlight flicker, I whispered a promise to myself: I will never stop watching. Not again. Not ever.